I'll fund my purchase of Pac-Man by trading in my Pong machine for pennies on the dollar to 70s GameStop.
Groovy GameStop.
Ash and Zach are super smart. They went to college and learned a bunch of stuff. And Beau and Andrew didn't go to college because that's the way life goes sometimes. What happens when you put them together and you try to make them learn? Grab your friends, let's listen together on Get Dumped on an Info Dump podcast.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Get Dumped On, an Infodump podcast, the podcast where one of our friends infodumps about their special interest on the other three friends. Coming at you every week on Humpday Dumpday. I am Zach, and also here is Ash. Say hi.
Hello.
Then we've also got Andrew. Say hi.
Howdy, y'all.
And dumping this week is a rare one, one that I'm looking forward to from my good friend, Beau. Say hi, Beau.
Hey, Beau.
Now take it away.
Perfect. All right. So I'm not going to be serious this time. Last time I put a bullshit and I did a little slice of life episode because it was fucking hilarious. People liked it. I saw rave reviews from one person at least saying, hey, Beau, you did a good job. That one. I'm like, thank you. I know. I could most it. All
From
right.
who?
I believe it was Justin.
Justin. Again.
Justin's probably our biggest good friend of the pod, probably the biggest fan we have. No, I'm gonna be serious. So I thought about this because I originally was gonna do orcas, but someone started to take that one, so then you had my own because someone decides like I'm gonna talk about orcas.
Well, you took too long, you know? Zach's a wealth of knowledge and information, and he's going to say it.
Anyway, now I got me thinking, like, what do I like? But what's been covered a lot, but what do I like? What do I know? What can I look? And so I decided the one thing that kind of really brought us together. So I want to make this my series, what I'm about to do before I reveal what I'm about to do. I like to make it a 4-part series. You're about to find out why it's going to be a 4-part series.
A 4-part series.
Beau's doing some MCU level planning right now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about the thing that really got us all together, right? So I'm gonna do a thing that topic's been over and over again. I'm gonna discuss
Video games.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. No, that's right. The history. I'm gonna start with the early history of video games, leading up to the early 1950s to the crash until the recent renaissance of the early 80s of it.
I'm down.
I'm gonna go for a deep dive. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. Videos are.
So for everybody listening, just so y'all know, the way that we met Beau was online on Discord through Andrew's server. And we started playing video games together.
Mm-hmm.
What game do we play first?
It was probably Call of Duty.
It was probably
Apex.
Call of Duty.
Or Apex.
Well, what I
Apex.
remember is that
it could have been Apex.
Yeah,
That's
it was
right.
probably
Is that
Apex.
you, Ash and I, Andrew got me playing Apex, and then I got Ash playing Apex, and then I was busy with other stuff, and Ash and Andrew were playing Apex, brought in Beau to play Apex with the three of them while I was busy writing my thesis or doing something nonsensical like that. And then after you three played Apex for a couple of months, and I was like, I don't want to meet a new person. And then eventually we played.
And now look at you.
And
You
then we
two
started
are the
playing
bestest of friends.
Black Ops, I think it was.
Call of Duty, Black Ops Cold War.
Call of Duty, Black Ops, Cold War.
Yeah.
That shit. I'm just repeating what she said. Perfect.
I think that's the story.
Awesome. Well, hey, before you get started, Beau, as well, for those if this is your first episode, buckle up.
Buckle up, fucking buckaroo, because Beau's a
Beau's notorious for being a fantastic host.
I am about to fucking take this fucking plane, and we're about to fucking crash it into a fucking ocean, because I'm captain now, baby.
Oh my God.
This. Anyway.
And you thought my intros were crazy.
Yeah, so buckle up, strap in, because it's about to be, we're about to get some turbulence, and I'm saying, it's gonna get
Dump on us, Beau. Give it to us, Captain. Oh, Captain, my Captain. Let's do it.
Perfect. Anyway.
Beau, Captain, my Captain.
I already kind of gave a little tease about that, right? So the earliest, talk about the history of video games started, right? So going back, the earliest known video game dates all the way back to the early 1950s, right? You don't think about it, you think of a little beep, boop, boop, bop computers. That's what they got. You got the beep, boop, bop computers.
I love this episode already. I love this so much.
And the thing is, most of the video games were actually at that point just flashing light. It was light bulbs in the early games. So between the 1950s and the 60s, there's big computer. That's all they were on. They weren't little consoles you see today, right? They were on big ass fucking computers. basically computers that were helped develop back in World War II, kind of got upgraded after that, right? That's the first PC upgrade. So World War II computers.
Video games is definitely an upgrade based on war shit.
Well, yeah, we got to help fight the Nazis. Then you make video games. That's the thing. Without the Nazis, we don't get video games. I'm just going to say that right now. So I want to thank their local Nazi.
Oh no!
No.
Thank you. I told you we're hitting turbulence with this bitch. Let's go. Anyway, so
Jesus Christ.
So there's two specific video games where they say like kind of the start of video games, right? There's one. It's called Space War with the exclamation point, which I really love how it had an exclamation point. It's
Space
basically
War.
It's Space War, like we're yelling at you.
Space War.
Space War.
In your face.
In your face. And
In your space.
the second one would also be Tennis for Two, the very first multiplayer game. Can you guess what the game is? It's tennis. It's in the fucking name.
Badminton.
Mm-hmm.
It was just called tennis.
Yep.
Tennis for two.
Tennis for Two. It was called Tennis for Two. It was actually what?
Did you have to have two players?
Yeah. How else?
It's in the name, bro.
It's a name.
Yeah, but like you could, so it was not you couldn't play it without.
No,
you couldn't play it by yourself.
We didn't have computers yet back then, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you basically had to have friends.
You did have to have friends, and so the screen, and it's all lights. Like the game is pretty much all lights running on light bulbs. Its system itself, right? It's interacting as it goes around. Best way I can describe it, right? It's just fast lights moving back and forth because it was on a computer. I'm trying to see if I'm describing it right. You know, you get what I'm saying about. It's all about light bulbs, just light bulbs going back and forth, back and forth.
So
It's
is
just
it like mechanical?
a single thing going around, like the light bulbs turning on and off, makes it look like it's moving in a line.
Yep, but you did have a controller with it, so it did react to a controller, right? So the best with that one game was like, hey, like this computer is fast as the human mind now. I think that's where we're at in this generation, and that's how they came up with Tennis for Two. Right?
A computer with the mind of a human?
Right? We're about to get
Wow.
that Overlords. That game was actually, so when it first got released, all the way back in October 18th, 1958. Considered one of the very first video games besides this other video game. And I'm gonna give you the name of the game. I want you guys to guess. Just take random guess, no shot in the dark, no two jumps in the chump or whatever shit like that. I don't do that here in my fucking episodes, okay? Because I'm not creative enough to come up with fucking lies, okay? All right. All right. I'm gonna give you the name of the game. It's called Birdie the Brain. What kind of game do you think Birdie the Brain is?
Bernie the Brain?
Bertie, Bertie, the Brain.
Birdie the Brain? That
Mhm.
sounds like an English mobster.
Some kind of jump 'em up.
I can't do it.
It's actually built in Canada, not an English mobster. So
Oh.
FYI. I'm gonna take a guess what kind of game Birdie the Brain is. Start with Zach. Zach, go.
I think that it is the first rudimentary side-scrolling platformer.
In 1950.
Yes.
Okay. Ash.
I know the answer. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay, perfect.
I think I know.
All right. Well, let me go to Andrew, and then I'll ask you.
I have no fucking idea.
Take a guess.
It's quizzes.
Is it
Okay.
a light gun game?
In 1950.
Well, yeah, but like
you're
a super
giving the
rudimentary
people in Canada in 1950 a lot of credit.
one. Dude, I don't know what the fuck people did in the 1950s.
Okay. Anyway, Ash, what do you think? What do you think?
Tic tac toe.
She is correct. The first game would be
Oh,
Tic Tac Toe.
Shit.
Yep.
Bernie the Brain.
Tic-tac-toe.
Birdie the Brain was tic tac toe.
Birdie the Brain was Tic Tac Toe.
What the?
What?
Who's coming up with these names?
Dude, that makes so much sense because you got to be brainy to win a tic-tac-toe, baby.
Yeah. Here, let me, if I can I'll show you the first image right here. So everyone's looking at Discord. They'll post it on the Instagram.
That's tic tac toe.
That's Tic Tac Toe.
That's quite literally tic tac toe. Was that the
It's
original?
so big. It's so big. That's just a gigantic machine. That's hilarious.
That machine had so much computing power back in the day. Like that machine is easily 10 feet tall.
It's
That
bigger
machine
than
helps
Dance Dance
fight the
Revolution.
Nazis.
Much bigger than Dance Dance Revolution.
Much bigger than Dance
But
Dance.
it needed that much space because computers back then needed to be that big for, 0.2 RAM, 0.2 gigabytes of RAM, megabytes of RAM.
Perfect. So remember I mentioned Space Wars, right? So Space War.
War.
Space War. Yep.
Space
Was,
War.
It was created in 1962, right? Developed by Steve Russell and Martin Gratz, right? At MIT. They created it at MIT, right? It was a 2-player space combat game that was played on a PD-1 computer. and it was probably the grandfather. It was the first one to be actually released, right? A commercial release of video games.
Can I pause you real quick, Beau?
Yeah.
Bravo. Beau came prepared.
I'm so proud of you, Beau. Keep going.
Beau is so much more prepared than I thought he would be. Keep going.
Yeah, because last time I hosted, I asked you questions. You
did
guys
not prepare at all.
Not prepared
whatsoever. Absolutely
So,
zero.
Space War would be like you would almost say the grandfather of video games. People say it was Pong and stuff like that, but no, actually, they would say Space War would be numero uno, the godfather of video games. Perfect. All right, that was the 50s and 60s, right? There's nothing else going on, right?
Just
So now
three
we
games.
Just yeah, pretty much. Birdie the Brain was my favorite. Fucking classic, you know what I'm saying? Perfect. So now, as we go in the 70s is the rise of arcades. Arcades
Love a
everywhere
good arcade.
now. So we got arcades.
So that's just like Miss Pac-Man and like
that's Pac-Man, Space Invaders,
yeah.
Pong, all that
This
shit.
is like the Atari days, right?
Yeah, so we're getting that would be the most that's
What was
pretty much what
pinball
it is.
invented?
We're getting close to Atari, but right now first we'll start with the arcade games, right? So
Does
you gotta
pinball count as a video game?
I would
Pinball-
not think so.
I don't I'm gonna say maybe.
Well, so
Maybe.
It's borderline.
pinball requires moving physical parts for the game to happen. The scoring system would be done by a computer. No, but it also could be done by toggles that just like move things. I don't know.
I would not say that pinball is a video game. I would say it's like video
It's a
game
game.
adjacent. It can have
It's a
video game elements.
It's an arcade game.
Yeah, is a scoreboard a video game? No.
No.
Okay.
So
I retract.
Not a video game,
Yeah.
an arcade game. So like you go to arcade, you go arcade games like that. Not a game. That's all my thing is. You know what the first arcade game ever released was?
Was it Pong?
No, it's actually called Computer Space.
Lots of space theme. Is it because it's the
Lots of
screen is
space.
black and it's
was
easy?
it
Video games,
fucking was it hopscotch or some shit? Like what?
No, it was created in 1971. It's a normal arcade game. It was Space War pretty much. It was influenced.
Like asteroids or some
I'm just
shit?
imagining Space
It's-
Invaders.
It is pretty much almost like Asteroid. The best way to say
Okay.
Computer Space. It was, I guess you could say, the first true sequel to Space War.
I loved Asteroid. when
Weirdly,
was
I
a
don't
kid.
know any of this information.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I know a lot about stuff, and I don't know a lot about this. Actually, I don't know a lot about most like smart things, but like this, like video games are cool.
Yeah. So that was, like I said, that was the first commercial release game, Computer Space. Now the most popular one to come out after all that happened the following year. You can take a guess which one is that. It's not Pac-Man, not Space Invaders.
It's
Miss
Pong.
Pac-Man.
It's Pong.
No,
It's Pong. Yep. The arcade version. So now we got arcade cabinets
The
everywhere.
fact that Pong
popping up.
was so exciting
Pong in
really
19
shows you how boring stuff was back
Hey,
then.
1972. When you look at that thing going, boop.
Yeah, dude. Like, okay, think about it. People were so bored that they were jumping out of planes and hijacking money.
It's call back.
Call back last week's episode.
I know
Call back.
Justin's laughing about that. He's like, I know that reference. I know that you guys are actually fucking doing it. You know?
So that's at the same time as like the DB Cooper shit.
Oh yeah, I think that's why he wanted American money so he could buy Pong. He wanted to buy his
He
own.
needed an
probably
Atari.
pretty
He actually
expensive.
dropped
Mhm.
down directly on top of an arcade and then immediately spent all
Yeah.
of his money at the arcade.
He's like, here, take my negligible American currency for this. He's like, do you want a bomb too? I just have it. Like, do you want to take it? Took for you.
I was like, yeah, sure. Here. Take it. Thank you, DB. Thank you. Sorry, I've lost track of fucking time. There's a dog chewing up
think
cardboard.
I think I heard it squeak. Did I have a squeaky toy?
It did have a squeaky toy next to it. Hey, so. That's so. Nova. I don't know why I called you so.
Look at
Can you hear
look at Beau being a pet owner.
Can you hear her chew cardboard?
No, I don't think so.
No,
Okay, I'm microphone close to my house.
it's fine. It's
Okay.
fine. We got it.
Perfect. All right. Are you guys ready to go back in this? Ready to go back in
So
this?
Pong, you're saying Pong was the most popular one. Like when it came out, obviously, I mean, everyone knows what Pong is.
Everyone knows what Pong is, right? That's what they're saying. Pong is to help usher in a new chapter for video games, right?
I'm
Was
making the
Pong.
motions of Pong with my hands.
You going boop?
How much? I wonder how much Pong made. Just as like, was Pong a video game you could buy and bring home, or was it only in arcades?
Well, no, Pong became on the Atari, I believe, eventually for the very first Atari.
Or was it for
wanna send-
computers as well, like home
No,
PCs?
no. So
Because I remember
home
they
PCs
used to
were
have them
definitely-
on.
they had a home version. No, I knew it, right? So they actually did have a home version back in, looking it up right now, back in 1975. You were able to buy it through. Can you guess what store you could buy Pong from in 1975?
Sears.
Oh.
Radio
Sears.
Shack.
It was Sears.
Oh,
Wow, really? That's cool.
Yeah, so Pong
Is Sears dead now?
Sears is
Yes.
I think pretty much
yeah,
dead.
yeah.
Sears
Like
died
recently.
because they refused to engage with online retail and continued to only do stuff through catalogs.
Why would you do that?
And
That's the
And
dumbest
then-
thing you could have done.
Amazon killed Sears a few years back.
Hold
Yeah,
on,
You used to
hold
be
on.
able to buy a
Sears
house
killed
from Sears. You could
Sears.
buy a kit to build a house from Sears at like 1900, and a lot of those houses are still standing today.
That's true.
Wow.
Perfect.
Not
So-
not relevant, sorry, but still.
No. That's good for. I did not know that.
It's all good. So we're going back to video games, right? So now we're going popularize. Now we're
The kind of crazy thing is that to play Pong at home, there wasn't a system where you could buy a cartridge to play Pong. You bought a machine that was just Pong.
Oh, Pong
The-
itself
the
was
Pong machine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much was that? I'm gonna look it up.
I think it was a cool $125 and a smoke cigarette. I don't know. But it was
and a
1970.
pack of Chesterfields. Or
Wow.
what, Chestertons.
Chester, good old Ronnie Chesterton. And this dog. Hold on, this dog. Perfect. Okay.
And the other
we're
thing that
back
sucks
on.
about it is that the paddles for playing it were on the system itself. Like you didn't have detachable, like you didn't have like discrete controllers.
Mm-mm.
Huh. So the Pong thing was called the Odyssey.
Yeah.
Anyone want to take a guess of how much money it costed in current dollars?
Ooh, and current. Okay.
Hey, let's do it. Let's do a little.
$3,000.
This is a
guess
dumper
dumper
chump,
chump?
but either a guess dumper chump. Yeah.
All right.
The closest one wins. Period. Not without going over. Just closest one wins.
$300.
How much, Beau? You said 300.
300 today money.
Okay, Ash.
I'm gonna say
Oh wait, no, sorry, $700. I forgot. I was
Okay,
guessing the price back then. Go there,
Beau
700.
upped
Sorry.
it. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
sorry.
gonna say way. I'm gonna say $100 of current day money.
Okay. And Zach.
I would say at least $1,500 of today's money.
So think about you're going to the Sears and you're going to buy one thing, a single video game of two lines moving up and down with a ball bouncing in between them today. That costs you $560.
Wow.
Just
That
said
was the
300.
closest.
Yeah, go me,
Wow.
go me.
That is nuts. Like a current next gen console is what, $399?
Yeah, that's what you ask.
You can buy a really shitty gaming computer for that price for $560.
Well, that's the thing that's the thing that like is kind of getting to me about people complaining that games cost $70 now. Because
they
like
were that much back then too. Like what?
yeah,
Like,
exactly. Like in the 90s, if you wanted to buy an N64 game, those were $70 too. Like
Yep.
$60 to $70. And like in today's money, like if games kept up with inflation, they should cost like $120.
They do in Australia.
Well, plus two, game consoles nowadays are sold at a loss. They make their money back
On
from
games
people
and
buying the
licensing.
games
Yeah.
for the consoles
Yeah.
because you can't just put in any game that you've found on the street to it. You have to buy one
Yeah.
that is
I-
for that console. So
I feel like everyone has been spoiled by Steam sales. Like Steam sales kind of fucked up the entire industry and like super devalued how much video games should cost. And it's like,
I'm fine with that
yeah, well, on one hand, it's
as a
like,
consumer.
as a consumer, sure. As the consumer, yeah, giving my games cheap. But on the other hand, I can completely understand why prices are going up. Like I get it. But also, give me cheap video game. I want my video game to be cheap.
I
my
want
game
my
to be
video
cheap.
games. Be
Jesus
cheap.
Christ.
Give Zach
this
his
was-
video game.
this was-
Take us away.
Pre-Pong,
What?
the Odyssey that Andrew was talking about. It was that was like before Atari
the
Pong.
The Magnavox Odyssey, that was like the first home console, right? We should be leaving just about.
No,
Beau,
you-
tell us about this.
No, you guys can go about it. You
I
want to know
don't think Beau has this in his notes.
what? The Odyssey? Yeah.
Tell
Odyssey,
us about it, Beau.
Well, no, the first video game actually released, was Odyssey back in 19. I do have the notes. Oh my god, I came prepared. Yay me! No, so Odyssey was released in America, 1972. So yes, technically the first home release console. We can get this point as the what do you say? The first generation of video games was the Magnavox Odyssey, right?
Mhm.
And there's a different series, and there's the Odyssey series. 11 different series of video games. Would you believe that Philips was actually a video game developer, right? You think of Philips, you think of CDs, you think of all that growing up, right? But Philips was actually help the Magnum Odyssey, right?
I was thinking Philips had screwdrivers, and I was very confused.
I was thinking
of my friend named Philip, who has not done anything with this.
You guys don't pay attention to you guys don't really pay attention to CDs, I guess, right?
Yeah, Philips does all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, once you said it, I was like, oh, okay.
I can absolutely
They're kind
see
of like the Yamaha, of the world too. Like Yamaha, like makes motorcycles and musical shit and like just everything you can think of. So what's after Pong?
What's after Pong? We'll get in the home consoles. No more games right now. Now we're going back there for Pong. So Pong's its own console itself right there. So the early stages of video game, like the first
release, crazy
right?
to think that's you would just buy a console for one singular game. Like obviously, it makes sense for the times. Yeah. But thinking back, that blows my mind that people be like, okay, get the Pong console out. Like that's fucking nuts.
Hey kids, gather around the TV. We're gonna play the video game.
You're gonna play that one.
We're gonna sit 2 feet from the TV because you have to hold the console to use the paddles.
And afterward, we're gonna watch Captain Planet.
There we go.
This was way before Captain Planet.
So Pong. So the home Pong system was released in.
Then we're gonna watch Three's Company.
Ooh, come on, knock on our door. That's the theme song, right? Yeah.
I'll be waiting for you.
Something.
What's the one with the fonts? What's that one?
Happy Days. What? Oh,
that's
Happy Days.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Is that
3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Yeah, it's yeah.
I don't know. Keep going, Beau.
Okay. Anyway, so we'll just say right now because there's other different systems that were released. I didn't want to put in notes, right? We'll say the Atari Pong created by Atari is the one we all know is the first generation of console, right? So now we'll go to the second generation of that. So basically, still market leader would be Atari, right? Now Atari has released its home console with cartridges. Now we're in the cartridge area. So no more buying a console for one game. Now you buy a console for multiple games. You got
game
Atari.
Changer. It's literally a game changer.
It is. You son of a bitch.
Oh, got him.
You got the Atari. You got the Odyssey, the Magnum Odyssey.
Good job. That's great.
The Intellivision made by Mattel, right? So basically, those big
Mattel
ones
made the Intellivision.
Yep, Mattel made the Intellivision. Now I have question for you for each one if you want to take a guess. I wrote these down. Can you guess for let's look at the Atari, right? So we're going with Pong and Atari, right? Can you want to take the guess what is the highest selling Atari 2600 video game was released in 1977?
Pac-Man.
Space Invaders.
If they made Pac-Man, Space Invaders, I'm trying to think. I don't know what games were on those consoles, so this is a wild guess. But
Pitfall, Asteroid, Tempest,
can you just
Centipede.
Make a single fucking guess, please?
My guess.
I'll say Asteroids.
I wasn't yelling at you, Ash, or Andrew. I'm yelling at Zach because he keeps yelling stuff. Okay, Pac-Man. Ash, what'd you say?
Space Invaders.
The answer is Pac-Man.
Hey.
Wait, Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man?
It's Pac-Man. With at least over seven million fucking dollars. Sorry, I was about to stutter there. I'm trying to my hardest
Waka 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 waka.
It made $7 million.
It made $7 million.
Okay, I'm looking up.
Not $7 million. 7 million copies.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. At $70 a pop.
Yeah,
that's a shitload.
Yeah.
The joy of playing
490 million at $70 pop.
Pac-Man when you've been playing Pong. That's way more fun.
Yeah, moving from Pac-Man, like Pac-Man has multiple colors.
I'm sure you also still kept your Pong system, right?
But that's like old shit, I still have my Xbox 360. I just, it's collecting dust somewhere.
I trade in my. I'll fund my purchase of Pac-Man by trading in my Pong machine for pennies on the dollar.
Well, pennies, you say?
To 70s GameStop.
Take it to ye old GameStop.
Ye old GameStop.
Groovy GameStop.
So do you all know about? So carry on for that. So now, like I said, we're the second generation of consoles. So unfortunately, video games wasn't always what it is now, right? They had the crash, the crash of '83, right? Do you know what the cause of the crash of '83 was for video games?
'83. What happened in '83?
Everything got fucking licensed. So everything got licensed. So the market was overfilled with all this shit. So everything's getting licensed, but nothing's getting sold, right? Now everything
like licensed, like copyrights and stuff like that.
The market was oversaturated. So with every fucking thing,
it was like every single movie that came out was getting a shitty Atari game.
And we still got that now and then, right? But That's what it was. So the cause was an oversaturated market of license of every different fucking game, right? Everyone blames, obviously, E.T., right?
Mhm.
E.T., Centipede, other these fucking games right there. It was just...
E.T.?
E.T. was the blame for it all, right? It was
It was. Why?
Yeah, because
wait, it was an ET game.
there was an E.T. game.
Okay.
Considered the worst video game of all fucking time if you look at stuff like that, right? E.T. game.
People were just like, this is the last goddamn straw with these shitty fucking video games. I don't want this anymore.
I've
Or was
seen
it the
footage
first
of
one that
people
was
playing
licensed?
it. I've seen
Well-
footage of people playing the ET video game. It's hot dog shit.
It's hot.
Like,
I'm gonna look at the video while you do that.
Yeah, it is worse. Why is this licensed? It doesn't look anything like the game, obviously. Back then, you can't tar back in, the early 80s to do that, right? But everything was fucking licensed. But it was so bad that when they closed the Atari offices back then here, there's landfills full of old Atari games. And especially that's why they blame E.T. was if you go to that landfill back in the day, you could find a picture. I believe there was a photo of it. Let me pull this photo of like the landfill of Atari games where you just see copies and copies of E.T.
Oh my
There's
God,
a
this looks
documentary that came
terrible.
out a couple of years ago where people tried to find the ET pit. I don't remember what happened.
Dude, this looks awful.
You're watching the Atari?
It's fucking horrible. The ET game on the Atari.
Yeah.
Wow, that is just
That's just
awful.
all video games are here. That's why again we'll go to the Atari.
So.
I put a
But you're
picture.
saying that this one started like the copyright thing is like they
Yeah,
copyright
this
this,
was-
as
this
ET,
was
which,
it. This-
how could you do that? Because this just looks like a little shrimp moving around the screen, running away from somebody in a
It
suit.
was an awful game. So everything got licensed so to make it awful games and shitty things. Like no one's gonna fucking buy it, right? At that point, like this is where we start caring about your video games, to an extent, right? Like graphics, gameplay, all stuff like that. This is the start. And it fell off. People are like, fuck this, I'm done with video game. That's when we go into the third generation. And we'll stop here at this generation as going more and grabbing video games. Because like I said, we're going to go here, then I'll do the next three parts and I'll tell you why in a second. So now we head back to the renaissance of video games back again. We took a break. Now we're back, right? We'll come back. So the crash in 83, we come back. The rise back in 1985, I would say the rise back of video games, right? In Japan, video games are still going, right? Japan, two markets started showing up, right? It was Sega and Nintendo.
Sega.
You could say the two saviors of video games. You've got the Sega, you got Nintendo, and Atari's still trying to push out their bullshit with this with the Atari 780. And now, here's the thing too. The best thing about this, right? So, video games are coming back on a rise, but there was also a fear. The fear of video games rise because of those two companies, with Nintendo and Sega. Now, people in the 80s, so we're getting a little more free thinking, but they're also still worried about a Japanese market coming into America and brainwashing your kids.
Oh my God.
It's so bad. Like people think like that, but they're like, oh, we don't trust
Dude,
this.
it's so stupid that they did think that, like thinking back. But then again, if people still think that today,
That's a sad thing too, right? They were getting better, but guess what? They got over and they were enjoying their fucking Sonics and they were enjoying their fucking plumbers.
Because it's fun.
The
So, do you
Japanese were
know-
like, hey, why don't you take on an Italian plumber? Everyone can relate to this.
so I know the first Mario game, his name was Jumpman, and it
Mhm.
was just a guy
Yeah.
fighting Donkey Kong essentially.
Mhm.
But
Oh, that was in that was Mario's like two different variation. That's just me because we'll get into that. Don't worry about. Don't ask me to. Do not ask Nintendo questions, please.
What?
Do not ask Nintendo questions, please.
Well, I was going to say I have a Nintendo question, but I think you've already passed this point.
Go ahead. Okay.
And let me know if I need to
Yeah.
fuck off.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Hey, fuck off.
what was Nintendo's very first game?
Can I save that? Can I save that for later?
He said no
Sure,
Nintendo
totally.
questions, Andrew.
But
Yes.
you already said like Nintendo's already going, Sega's already going. I thought that we've already moved past this. So
No. I'm saying
I'll shut the fuck up.
because
now.
Donkey Kong was in the arcade game, but the whole arcade system, like that stuff as well, right? It was
Yeah,
like
but was that
Game
the
and Go
first
back to
shit,
that,
right?
But the thing is, Game & Watch, yes, that's they made LCD, not LCD, but they made fucking Game & Watch games, right? It's just a bunch of small mini games. Those were the first Game & Watch games. Were the early signs of Nintendo games, but if you go back earlier, Nintendo's been around forever, right? So before they were games, they were a card company as well. If you want to go technical with it, it's early 1900s was the first Nintendo game. If I get technical, video game, I'll get back to you on that one.
I saw somebody unboxing once it was a box of Nintendo playing cards with naked ladies on them.
Yes.
It was from like the
Scandalous.
40s.
They were from.
Awesome.
They were like whorehouses, basically. It's great.
The fuck? Oh, cool.
Yeah, well, we'll get
Nintendo likes to
but
party.
you just wait. We'll get into a bit more into that too. Again, with my 3-part series. Okay, so now we're technically in January.
You said 5. You said 5-part series.
No, so that's the 4-part series.
Yeah, 4
Okay,
parts.
now it's changing.
Wait, so are we doing this as 4 separate episodes, or is this?
Yes.
Are we?
Yes. No.
Okay.
We're stopping here, and I'll go back when it's time for me to record the other ones. So we'll get other ones going. This will be the first part.
Okay.
This is part 1 of Beau's series, a 4-part series, maybe 5 if the people are liking it.
This is Beau colon the first dumper,
Yes.
and then the second one will be
Mhm.
dumper Civil War, and then the next one will be
And then- yeah.
Endgame, and
Good.
then whatever.
Mhm. Especially 2 will collide too. It's great. It's like they intertwine too. Like there's crossovers too. Especially like okay. So I'll give this spiel what I want to do. Right. So we'll as we go like that. So this will be the first part. The first part is the early history of the video games, the rise, the fall, and where before everything else. Right. But then we're gonna go 3 more will be the current generations of each one. So we'll go back to every generation comes. So Nintendo, Xbox. We're not going to do Microsoft. I'm not going to go into fucking computers and Sony. I'm not, like I said, stick with console only. So today we're doing history up until the early 90s.
So where are we now?
We're in generation 3, which would be
Late 80s.
This will be mid 80s. Anyway, now we're in generation 3, mid 80s. We got Sega out and we got Nintendo out, right? The Famicom, like you said, the Famicom computer, and also what we know as the NES, right? The Nintendo Entertainment System. Then we got Sega, which is the Master System, the Mark III actually, go like that, and we have the Atari 780 out, right? So now we're here, right? So these are all cartridges, right? And now you got better controllers, you get little wired controllers coming out right there. I'm gonna ask you 2 questions. I want you to answer. What do you think the Sega, the Master System, highest selling video game is?
Highest selling of just the Sega, the original Sega console.
The Master System, yes.
God, I have no idea.
I'm gonna
Street
say
Fighter
Sonic.
1.
There'll
Pac-Man.
be 2 answers, right? There'll be really 2 answers. Take a
I don't
guess.
know enough about video games like to know that like how far back that was, because there were so many games that you think of the heavy hitters, right?
But you think
of Pac-Man.
but that's what you should think.
of
That's what you should. I'm saying right now, stay in that lane.
Is it Tetris?
No, saying this is for Sega. Stay in line for Sega.
So heavy hitters for Sega
Sonic.
in my mind.
So we're still in the
Sonic,
80s, right?
Yes, we're still doing
So
generation
this
3.
is like super pre-Sonic, because Sonic
Miss
is
Pac-Man. Is it Sonic?
It is Sonic, right? Sonic was packed in, right?
Oh, so is the Sega Master System the same thing as the Sega Genesis?
Yep.
Oh.
The Master System. So there's 3 different variations of it, just like the NES
But
has
Sonic
like
the
that
Hedgehog came out in 91.
packed in with it. So it was the highest selling one with it back then. Going to there, right? Let it go. There's
What?
also there's also another one called Alex the Kid.
I've
Back
never
then
heard
as
of
well.
that.
Yep. Now you can take a guess. So same thing with the NES, right? One is packaged, one is sold. You take the packaged guess and the sold guess.
I mean, it was packaged with Super Mario Brothers, right?
Yes. Can you now take the guess of the highest selling NES game?
Duck Hunt.
Duck Hunt. Oh, that's we're the same brain.
Andrew?
I got nothing.
Oh, the answer would be Super Mario Bros. 3.
Oh,
Okay,
Stick with Mario.
That makes sense.
When Nintendo's in doubt, you know what they do? They release the plumber.
Mario.
yeah, Super Mario. I mean, Super Mario Bros. 3 is probably the best one.
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
really like a side-scrolling Mario games guy, but 3 is pretty tight.
For the NES.
I've heard
for the
that 3
NS3.
is like the best.
Oh, it is the best, especially because 2
Also,
is
real quick, there's I searched Sonic games just like see like when the first one came out, and
To
Fact
fact check
one.
Beau.
well, I just wanted to see like when that actually came out, because I remember playing
You're
that.
live fact-checking Beau.
No,
It's rude.
more of just I remember playing that back in the day. I wanted to see when it came out. However, I just saw that in March of this year, a game came out called The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, and it's
Ugh.
Yep.
free.
Oh yeah, Sega actually gave permission for them to use that. It was an April Fool's. It was an April. It was an April.
game.
It was an April Fool's joke game that came out.
I'm downloading it right now.
Andrew, do you remember hanging out as children playing Sonic the Hedgehog together?
Yeah, and I remember not having memory cards, so we would lose all progress as soon as we turned the fucking thing off. So we would leave it on all the time, and then like, I don't know how it would get turned off all the time, but it constantly would. Our parents would probably turn it off.
Sonic didn't have battery save.
I believe you needed a memory card of some sort.
No, not in the cartridge era.
Okay, well, this was
memory
a
cards
long
didn't become a thing
fucking
until
time
disk
ago.
systems. Like I think the PlayStation was the first system that required a memory card, but I guess I could be wrong.
But yes, I do remember
Sonic
playing those
definitely
games,
had.
and they were very fun. Sonic was great. I still
Super
love
fun.
Sonic.
Yeah, great.
We played Knuckles. We played with Tails. Oh, so good.
Fun
I
fact is
remember
that
I got a Game Shark where you could plug. Remember Game Shark?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had a Game
like-
Boy Game Shark.
Old school, like that's how you mod the game or like change parts of the game. But I remember I had a Game Shark for this for the Sega Genesis that you plug in there, and then you would plop the game on top of the Game Shark and then plug it into the Genesis, and it changed the game completely. It was so cool. I don't remember
Yeah.
where the fuck I got that thing too.
I think my
That
first
thing
Game
is-
Shark was
those
from my
things
Game
are
Boy, where I got all the Pokemon.
Yeah, I had the Game Shark for the Game Boy. That thing was tight.
Yeah, Game Sharks are tight. Game Sharks are tight.
Game Sharks are tight. And what I
Tight.
remember is that the first game to have saves on it, to have like a battery backup that saved your game, was The Legend of Zelda on
You know,
the NES.
Yeah, all the NES games had the battery save. Even the first Super Mario.
Definitely not all of them.
Well,
Definitely
Mario
not.
did. Mario did. You have to enter a code to go back to your save thing for Mario when you stop playing.
Well, yeah, that's not a save. That's not a battery backup. That's a password.
Yeah, the backup, stupid. I'll back you up. Whose podcast is this? Mine or yours?
I'm confused
Well,
now.
it's ours. Anyway, so we're gonna lean up to what we.
I just looked it up, and it says that the Sega Genesis does not have a native save feature, and it was based on the cartridge and not the console.
Yeah.
Oh,
Whether
cool.
or
So I
not you
was
could
wrong.
save.
So
I'm also
there definitely
backtrack-
was a save in there.
I'm also backtracking when Zach asked me about Sega. Was it the Genesis? No, it was not the Genesis. Right? You asked me, was it the Sega to Genesis? No, I messed up. I misspoke. It's just mess. So sorry about that. I'm going to correct myself, get myself ahead of that before everyone goes like, "Oh, you fucking idiot! You don't know what you're talking about." Yeah, you're right. I don't. That's why I make up shit as I go. I've been lying this whole
Mhm.
fucking time.
Oh, I am an idiot in that Sonic 1 and 2 did not have any method of saving your game. I'm sorry for
just
being rude.
Said that.
I know.
I'm sorry he wasn't listening to you, Ash.
I'm sorry
Okay.
that he was rude.
All right, so we're going to stop here at the fourth generation, and we're going to go like this. What we consider now, we're entering the modern video game generation, right?
Okay.
As graphics get better, now we're in a 16-bit era, right? Now the graphics are looking better, everything like that. The last
Look at
Super
those
Metroid,
bits.
motherfucker.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we have and now we're sticking with the two. We have the two major players still, right? We have Sega with the Mega Drive in Japan, the Genesis here. That's my bad, right? And now we have the Super Famicom, or also known as the Super Nintendo here in the States, because they didn't want to confuse people, which is weird. And it's kind of funny they did that and they stopped talking about it, right? Now we're entering.
That's when shit took off, right?
Yep.
Like that's when the boom happened.
That's when the boom. Now we're getting game card,
Here
more
comes the
powerful game
boom.
cartridges, more memory as we're going on. Now you can see like think games are starting to look more 3D. We have in some consoles, so like we have the TurboGrafx 16 still out there, and we have also the Neo Geo as well coming out there. Now they're using cartridges, I believe, and we're also the first uses of CDs too with the TurboGrafx, because it's basically they were calling itself a personal computer was a TurboGrafx, right?
Cool.
Almost your first computer console, but it used CD, right? That makes sense.
yeah.
Okay, just answer my question when I do that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So we're hitting the generation. Now we're hitting the late 80s, early 90s for this one, right? So it depends where you are, right? So like Sega was the first one to come out with the Genesis. The Genesis hit the States in August 14th of 1989, right? So Sega, first one to jump off, upgraded console. Here we go. Has Sonic with it. Sonic the Hedgehog, best selling game. I'm not going to ask you guys questions anymore. We're just going to go with it because I got to make sure we're good on time. So slow us down, roll us down. You know what I'm saying, guys? You know what I'm fucking saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, baby.
I don't.
Perfect. All right,
I
perfect.
have no idea.
All right. I'm rambling. I'm
So this is where you cut it off, though.
what? This is where we're gonna cut it off.
You
So
said you're cutting it off right now.
yeah, we're gonna talk about it and we're gonna cut off it. We're gonna stop after.
All right, talk about it, baby. Do it.
Perfect. We're in the generation now. Like I said, we consider now we're in the current generation, not current generation, the modern generation of video games, right? Two players. We got that. We got Sega. We got Nintendo. They're fighting over it. They're having stupid commercials like that. Sega's making jabs. You ever heard that old ad of Sega does what Nintendo don't, whatever. Like fucking play on words. Fucking genius, you fucking mega fuckers at Sega. No wonder
that was because wasn't that because Nintendo censored the blood in Mortal Kombat on the Super Nintendo?
Yeah. So I will get in a sense. I have a very list of Nintendo censorship. It's wild, right? So now we're here to like that. So like I said, new two major players: Genesis, Super Nintendo. Right. This is where I enter my world of video gaming. Right. Like growing up, the first consoles I had played like that would be the Super Nintendo. Never played a Sega. Wasn't a Sega kid. Growing up like that, when you get to the next generation too, I want to ask you guys a question. You guys Sega kids, Nintendo kids?
A Nintendo kid.
You're a Nintendo kid.
Well, I didn't. The first system that I had was a Nintendo 64. I had to go over to my neighbor's to play his Sega Genesis.
Ah. What about you, Ash and Andrew?
We had a Sega Genesis.
We had a Genesis, but I remember it was a while after the Genesis came out. We were.
Yeah, it was.
It was a while.
It was before. It was 1999 or before. It was before 1999.
Yeah, just like
if
not like right. It was very late. It was very late because I remember we got it. Oh God, my memory's terrible. I think we got it at a yard sale, and it was. I remember someone got. I don't know who got it or why they got it, but they got the console and a bunch of games that came with it, and it was in one of those old school milk crates. That's the only thing that's in my brain.
It was you who got it. They bought it for you.
Me?
Yeah, it was because it was in your room. They would it was yours.
But it was definitely much later than when it came out. I was so late to the game. All my friends had already beaten all those games. And I was like, hey, have you heard of this Sonic thing? And my friends were like, you fucking idiot. Like, Sony old man.
It
was... You playing Genesis still? We're on the Saturn. Idiot.
It was early enough in my life that I don't remember when we got it. I just remember it being in the house.
Yeah. I don't know why we got it, who bought it. I had no idea. I definitely didn't buy it myself because I was a child. But that's only like that until the GameCube. That was my console. That and the Virtual Boy.
You had a
Virtual Boy?
I was one of the 4 people that had a Virtual Boy and actually played it.
That is awesome.
That's right.
That one too. I don't know where it came from. I think it was another like yard sale, and that thing fucking sucked. But I played it all the time.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I just looked up the Virtual Boy because I didn't know what that was, and I have distinct memories of that.
Yeah, I think fucking sucked.
I had a Palm Pilot, and I played Drug Wars on it constantly.
All right. I love that. So I'm gonna do some questions after this, since we're just talking about the history of video games, right? So like early history, and we're gonna just do a little background on all of us right there as we finish it off right there, right? So like I said, with the end off with the 4th generation, we had those video games, and I forgot to tell you, yeah, Nintendo's best-selling video game too was Super Mario World. Surprise! Italian plumbers, when in doubt, bust out the plumber, because he'll
those Japanese love their Italians.
Yes, and that are plumbers. So we entered the 16-bit era, right? Also now we're on multi-button controllers, right? So no more A, B, left D-pad, go like that. Now we're A, B, Y, X. More buttons, more opportunities, more power.
Triggers, motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. Now we're also doing more enhanced sound options too. So now we're in the stereo area as well, right? Even with what do you call it, like whatever. So we're in stereo audio now, way higher audio, and now with we have 3D polygon graphics, right? Oh my god, I'm sorry for
Factor 7. Factor 7 is that what
I believe called?
And then the Genesis version was blast processing.
And also surround sound.
You can't handle my polygons.
And the first era of the CD-ROM support as well, right? So and each console also had their own little gimmick too, where you can attach shit, you could do all that extra super backwards compatible stuff and everything like that.
At some point, we got a Game Boy Color, and it had with a little light attachment because the screen didn't have a light. And I think I played Pokemon and I didn't understand it, and then I gave it to somebody.
As you should. Oh, which we'll talk about the handheld systems.
Dude, I had a limited edition ice blue Game Boy Pocket that I got for Christmas or birthday at some point. And when I was in 4th or 5th grade, I had a copy of Pokemon Yellow that I'd rented from Blockbuster. And I brought it to school with me so I could play it on the bus. And at one point, I went to go get it out of my backpack to play it at recess, and it was missing. And I told the teacher, and she said, well, you shouldn't have had it in the first place because Pokemon's banned. And Pokemon wasn't banned entirely. It was Pokemon cards that were banned. And she was like, you shouldn't have had it in the first place. And then nobody ever found it. And it was
That's
lost
victim
forever.
blaming.
And I had to do extra chores around the house to pay back Blockbuster for the missing game.
That's fucked up. Like, hey, man, my car's stolen. Well, you shouldn't have bought the car in the first place, bro. Like,
Zach,
that's you.
I
What?
love how every single one of your stories from your childhood is a time that you were wronged and you remember it so clearly. You have such a strong sense of justice, and I love that for you.
That's what really makes the memories stick.
When else were you wrong, Zach? Please tell us.
The first time
funny.
that I had to go to the office was because when I was in kindergarten in gym class, we were playing some game where you could get out, and I got out, and so I was sitting on the floor by the wall at the edge of the gym, and so like I just kind of slouched down and like kicked my legs out, and I did it right as a teacher was walking by, and they accused me of trying to trip them and sent me to the office. And I
Wait,
was like,
did
"No."
you didn't trip them?
No,
They just
I did-
accused you of trying to trip them?
they accused me of trying to trip them.
Okay, if no crime was committed, you can't accuse someone of a crime.
Yeah. Well, that was they didn't really go by true legal standards when dealing with kindergartners, I guess.
Like, you walked past me and I thought that you wanted to steal my wallet. You didn't try to steal my wallet, but I thought that you did. So get out of here. Like that.
Yeah.
Go to the
Really?
principal.
Yeah.
My favorite.
That was the 90s though. Like people just did wild
They like
shit.
didn't believe kids, like teachers.
Yeah.
Or
Kids are
just,
Oh
idiots.
no,
like,
No, I don't
bullying
get
was
it.
out of fucking control, and they're like, "This kid bullied me and punched me in the face." They're like, "Oh well, maybe you should have been a fucking idiot."
Or the one who
Yeah.
gets punched gets suspended because you have a zero
Wait.
tolerance policy for violence.
Yeah.
Were you
It's
asking
like, he
for
beat
it?
the shit out of me. He punched me 700 times. And I did not punch
Well, maybe
back.
you should
Okay,
stop
well, you
being
are
a
suspended
pansy.
for being punched in the face because clearly you did something that pissed him off enough to make him punch you.
My favorite Zach story from when he was a kid is he was put into football, and it was a practice, and the coach was like yelling at him in football style, like, come on, you piece of shit. I mean, he didn't say that, but Zach apparently said, you can't talk to me that way, and then sat on the curb until his parents came and got him.
And that's how I quit. And my dad went nuclear. I
I
was
love
only
that
in
you
football because
stood up
my
for
dad
yourself.
my dad was always making me do some sort of like team sport. Like it was one of his requirements was that I was doing a team sport. And the year previous I'd done basketball. And at one point somebody stole the ball from me, so I chased him down and tackled him to get the ball back. And so then they were like, "You
That's not
should
how you
do
play."
football." I was like, "I'm 9. I don't understand rules, and I don't care because I'm not invested in this because I don't want to be here."
All right.
Thanks.
love
That's
that
the
journey for you.
history of video games.
And a little bit of Zach in there, too.
History. Perfect. All right.
I would love to have an episode of just Zach telling us about the crazy shit that's happened in his past because he's a very good memory.
Only
stop,
when it
stop,
comes
stop.
to
Stop. Anyway, so
That's
I'm gonna wrap it up here. Also because my notes ran out, so I didn't want to free lip and ad lib anymore on my end.
Good, perfect.
So we're gonna. I know I'm not gonna personally listen back to this episode because I don't want to hear myself talk that for that long. So,
All right.
but I also would like for some suggestions in the comments how I can host better. Or I'm afraid I'm probably not gonna do it and let this die.
Well,
As
so
it
my
is.
favorite thing that I
No, I thought
learned
you did a
though
great job.
was that Beau actually showed up with notes. I literally
Yeah.
thought you were going to show up with nothing, just like you did last time.
Yeah,
Bo,
I
I
did that.
I'm so
fully-
proud
I-
of you, Beau.
I fully had confidence in you that you would have something. I'm not surprised because I know that you do well at everything.
All right, perfect. Well, if you guys want me to continue my other 3 parts going on, let me know. Or
Absolutely.
I could do something else, and we can revisit this at another time. Or I could
I
just
think
never
we should
host
continue
again.
this topic.
Okay, perfect. All
I think we
right,
should continue this topic.
all right, okay,
We
okay.
can hone your skills further.
Ooh, thank you.
Zach, you brought us into this world. Now take us out of it.
So that's been Beau presenting for this episode of Get Dumped On. Beau has been the dumper, and I think he did a phenomenal job. If you think he did
I
a
don't
great
think
job
so.
too, send us an email at getdumpedonpodcast@gmail.com. If you have constructive criticism, feel free to send it over as well. If you just have regular criticism or you're going to say anything mean, keep it to your fucking self, dude. And yeah, so tune in next week for whatever the hell we're doing next week. We definitely know. And it's
We
all
do
planned
know.
out.
I'm very excited.
Oh, we
Oh,
do know.
yeah.
Yeah, we do know.
Yeah, we do
wow.
know. We do know. Okay, great.
This next one's gonna be way better than what I fucking did. And Zach, sorry for any episodes I talked shit on you on. I am not a hostess. I'm more of a color commentary kind of guy, you know.
When did you talk shit?
I talked all the Bigfoot one, the dentist one.
Yeah.
I hated you.
That was fine. I knew that you didn't mean it.
I did. I still do. But I'm apologizing for it.
Yeah, it's not so easy, is it? Huh? But anyway, this has been Get Dumped On. Taking you out. I'm Zach.
You want to say our names? Oh,
Did you just
I'm
want
Beau.
us to do that? Like,
Yeah, I thought that we were all on the same page. Sorry.
No, I mean, I picked up on it, but I thought there's no way that he wants us to do that.
All right, so
But then
signing out.
you
I'm
did.
Zach.
Don't do it.
Oh my God, you're just.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Beau.
Hi. Howdy, y'all.
Oh, fuck
I'm
the
the old
prospect.
prospect.
What?
Listen, dude, we're prospecting every Wednesday. Humpday Dumpday, shucking up.
Ooh.
All right,
Okay.
let's get out of here.
I don't know what's
Get the fuck
happening
up.
anymore.
Convert
Okay, bye. Okay, bye. Okay, bye.
Bane.
Ash and Zach are super smart. They went to college and learned a bunch of stuff. And Beau and Andrew didn't go to college because that's the way life goes sometimes. What happens when you put them together and you try to make them learn? Grab your friends, let's listen together on Get Dumped On an Info Dump Podcast.
Oh, that was video games.
Jesus
I gotta
Christ.
blow into the cartridge to start it.
You thought you were born by video game.
Oh,
Pretty sure emailed me
jeez.
your own.
Okay.
I had to get it in. Hey, no
All right.
episodes out, Beau talking about loads. Bye.